Hi there, it's Saturday 19th of October, 1 week after I did the last update. It's been a funny week, ups and downs, some big downs, but overall very good, and things keep going along, and I feel better. I'm not coughing as much, which is really nice. I feel like my voice can come up here a bit more, and I can be a little more lively with how I speak, because I'm not sort of struggling against that kind of throatiness that I had before. So this week I'm talking about a few things. So I had a really low point on Thursday night. I've had some pervading thoughts of related to what I was saying last week, where some of the changes all happen earlier on and they don't happen so much in this sort of period that I'm in right now. I mean, I've got some breast growth, which is great, and it's tender and things, which means it's kind of continuing. My body is changing, but it's all more subtle than the things that had happened early on, which are like, oh my god, look at the difference. My skin changed, my hair's changed, my shape of my face has changed a bit. Now they're all kind of gradual things that are a little harder to see the kind of like the rewards. Like each weekend I used to see something, oh, that's different, and now it's not so much like that. And you kind of feed off those little stepping stones all the way along to kind of make you feel good about what you're doing, where you're going, and where you might end up, which is a big part of this psychologically. So I had a pretty nasty time on Thursday night. I'd had a bad day at work. There was someone who joined our work and had come in to, essentially we needed them in to help spread my workload around. So they came in and they were very much like, well, I'm here for you. I'm going to work around you and tell me your vision for this, and I will just do my best to fit in. And then very quickly just steamrolled across anything that I'd re-established, the homework I'd done, the plans I'd made, and was like, I'm going to do it this way. And they're also going to spend a lot of money, which I wouldn't have done, and not work within the means of the production that I'm on at the moment. And so that was really upsetting. I felt kind of undermined at work and walked away from my day at work on Thursday feeling kind of low. And what I found is with the estrogen at the moment, when I have peaks of feelings, they're exaggerated. And so when I'm happy, I'm pretty happy. Most of the time I'm pretty happy. I'm a quite optimistic person. But then when I'm not feeling good, other bad feelings come up and join it and make it bad. And the pervading sense that I've had that I can't feel these changes happening as much each week at the moment made me kind of think, oh God, am I failing at this transition? Am I not going to get to where I want to go? And a big part of that is my expectations for the future. My dream would be to be really feminine and kind of girly and just kind of like move through the world as a girl and no one kind of think anything of it. There are certain realities based on having lived male for 47 years and big shoulders, a bigger muscular nature and skeletal structure in particular, things that I'll never really be able to fix, and I'll never be that kind of petite person. And I know this is what other women come across as well, as their expectations of who they are and in reality compared to the images maybe that they would wish to be, is incongruous. And I think part of this is the emotions running high due to estrogen and kind of just feeling these things more. And so feeling bad made me feel even worse. And I ended up at one point sitting in a bus stop in the rain in tears, writing a quick post on Twitter with positive thoughts to kind of make myself switch my gears, which really did help, just to try and think of good things that I've done and where I'm going and how much I've already achieved, to kind of help me out of this kind of funk that I'd fallen into. And actually I went home and felt much better once I was indoors and in comfortable space in my flat and my apartment in Liverpool where I'm staying, and just felt like, okay, I'm out of the world. I'm back to just kind of, I can go and cry on my bed and it would be okay. And actually it did feel better for that. But a big part of it is managing my expectations for the future. Maybe I definitely won't be really petite. I'll be feminine. I feel like I'm kind of more feminine. But I won't necessarily have this imaginary being as a goal to reach, say, next year or the year after, and things like that. So part of it is kind of tempering my wishes to where I will actually be. And maybe I'm not going to change so much more from who I am now. And maybe I just need to enjoy that and understand that that's okay and really internalize that, because that's quite tricky. Okay, the other thing is I had an interesting thing earlier in the week, and it had me kind of anxious, and it was partly to do with the health information that I have around my transition and HRT. I'd been forwarded a lecture by a doctor in the States who is arguably on the forefront of transition-related medical care, and it was quite a long lecture, and they had a lot of backup data and information, and it seemed like they were a long way ahead in some areas of HRT and how they treat people with the estrogen and progesterone potentially, and the way they even did it. And it seemed like they're getting very, very good results with trans people and more feminization than other people, other doctors. That just got me kind of worried. You're trusting your medical professionals to provide good care for you, and they're the experts. So I believe really strongly in trusting what they say. But then this information comes in constantly from social media and online. Maybe you need to do it this way. Maybe that way is not as good. When you're reaching out to a possible future of who you're hoping to be, how more womanly you could be, how much feminization you get out of HRT. You want as much as you can get. It's quite addictive. You want to be, as I say, petite and girly and things if you could. So you're really wanting to get the best for yourself there. And some of the information was really leading edge, it seemed. And some of it actually, funny enough, because it's in the States, actually seemed behind what I already know here in Europe is the case. So I was quite anxious about that. What do you do when you don't know if your medical expert's the best expert and you're kind of on a road with them and you can see maybe other people are getting something better somewhere else? The response from my point of view was to write to my endocrinologist. And he's really busy. He's got lots of clients. But I wrote a letter to him and said, really briefly, I know you've got a lot of time. I haven't got much time on your hands. What do you think about this thought, this thought, this thought, this thought? Most of them he answered really brilliantly and kind of settled my mind that, yes, he's on top of these things, knows about them. There was one in particular that he didn't, which is estrogens, which is another weaker form of estrogen in your body that can disrupt the uptake of estrogen through HRT. He didn't know much about that, and that seems to be the one area that this American doctor is kind of finding a new way through. But who knows, maybe even asking that means that my endocrinologist might look into it a little bit more. But generally speaking, he settled my mind to a degree that things are going well and things are fine and don't change anything. And things I could change, like whether I spread out my HRT during my estrogen dose during the day rather than having it all in the morning. He was like, there's no real evidence to support it, but it's not going to hurt anything if you want to try it out. I probably won't actually, because it's much easier to get up in the morning and just take it. But yeah, so that was the way I can get my anxiety down, was to kind of reduce that clutter and the outside stuff and go back to my doctor and trust them and, question them too and find out if I'm on the right path with them and they're the right people for me. I'm privately doing this, so I can switch and change people if I really had to do it. I'm generally extremely happy with how things are going though, so I won't be doing that. Now, next one, I've got some notes here just so you can, I kind of have been trying to put these things down during the week as they come across my mind. So, this kind of comes back to how I was feeling bad about myself too on Thursday, is my voice work has really dropped back. I'd really been quite lazy about it lately. And I've reached an impasse in it, and I need to do more practice. And actually on Thursday night, once I felt a bit better, I did some practice. I did feel better because of that. And it's one of those things that I found that small acts of care and some sort of regimen, like you've got something on your mind you're doing and you may be procrastinating not doing it. Actually doing it makes you feel so much better. Even if it feels like it's a little bit of a chore. Chores achieved feeds back into confidence in yourself that you're getting things done and that you're moving forward. And so actually I need to push myself to do this practice, because the practice actually makes me feel good. And the reason I'm feeling bad is because I haven't been doing it. It's nothing to do with the ability to do it. I'm just feeling bad about myself for slightly being lazy, really. So that's that. Okay, that last one, trying to end on a slightly high note, because it's good to have something positive to finish on this week, and I'm trying to keep it a bit shorter than I did last week. Bathrooms. So obviously a big subject, but my little observation this week is I started off using male bathrooms and started occasionally using the female bathroom, and feeling really a bit scared of that. I didn't want to there is talk of people being upset with trans people using female women's restrooms. So I was always very concerned that I didn't want to make any woman feel uncomfortable if I was in there and they were like, what's going on here? But so over time, I've been using the women's more and more. And actually, I realized this week that I don't want to go into the men's. It used to be like, I could use either one I want to. That's cool for me. Which on set, when there are limited toilet spaces, it's actually quite useful to be able to just dart into one or the other. But I've really found that, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go in there. That's going to be a bit weird. I would definitely feel uncomfortable going into the men's now, and gross, yuck. So interesting change. Perception over time changes, and how, where you feel like some things that felt really strange initially now feel very normal, and the opposite is now strange, which used to be normal. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's a small observation this week, and something nicer to finish off on. That I feel good in the women's bathroom because it's a nicer place to go to use the toilet, which is kind of normal and should be normal. Yeah, no big deal, right? Hopefully. So yeah, that's this week, and I'm going to have a really relaxing weekend this weekend, and doing some editing of some of that XR material that I shot last week. And hope you had a great weekend and a great week, and I will talk again soon. Bye.